Shalom, this is Yah is Magnified, and I'm back with another informative video. Today's video is titled Release of Judgment Lien. But before I tackle this subject, as always, I must state for the record, I'm not a lawyer, I do not practice law, and I do not pretend to. All my videos are for informational and educational purposes only. They are all facts and all truth, nothing more, nothing less. So with that being said, guys, I need you all to hit that like button, and also if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell so you all can be notified as I'm dropping these powerful videos. So without further ado, guys, let's get to it. Okay, so I wanted this video to in fact be a testimony, but my aunt, he gracefully declined because YouTube is not for everyone, guys, and everyone don't want to be in the public, just giving the information or just, speaking in the public. Some people just don't like that, okay? So I told my uncle I'll just continue to post the videos, and then, I just want him to watch and just simply, support. As always, that's my uncle. We've been fighting two cases together. We fought both of them in California. We have fought one in Alameda County, right, and won that one. And we also have fought one in San Bernardino County and won that one as well, okay? So this video will in fact be a two-part video. The reason why it will be a two-part video is, like I stated before, because my uncle is not giving his testimony. And instead of just coming on showing a bunch of documents, I might was come on and turn this into a teaching lesson as well to help you guys get a better understanding of what's going on when they placing these liens and levies on you guys' accounts and stuff like that, okay? So now, as you all can see, upper left-hand corner, we're coming out of Alameda County, Department of Child Support, okay? This is, in fact, who wrote the letter. They sent the letter to my aunt. We're going to call him Mr. Cook. The letter was dated June 5th, 2023. The case number I crossed out. The custodial party name I crossed out. The non-custodial parent, who again is my aunt, Mr. Cook, and the court case number I also crossed out. And it reads, Dear Mr. Cook, a lien. So notice I have some words highlighted in red, some paragraphs highlighted in yellow. Okay, the reason why I highlighted the words in red, because these are the terms that you all must know when reading these documents to understand what is actually taking place. So again, since I'm going to turn this into a teaching lesson, I'm going to go over these terms as well so we can get a better understanding of which has been going on, throughout everyone's case, so you all get a better understanding of how to defend yourself. But it reads, a lien was previously recorded based on a child support judgment. Okay, it also reads, a lien does not allow the obligor to buy or sell property in the county in which the lien was recorded. Okay, it further reads, enclosed is an original release of judgment lien, DCSS 0240, prepared by this office for each county in which the lien was recorded. Okay, so it was actually recorded in 4 counties, guys. Okay, the four surrounding counties, to make sure he couldn't sell his property or anything else like that, as long as the judgment lien was placed on his documents. On his property. But he also received the same forms for all the other counties as well. But I'm not going to go over all 4 of the documents because it's basically the same thing. And if I was to do that, it would make the video extremely long and repetitive because all the documents say the exact same thing. But let's continue. It states, the lien was recorded in the counties listed in number 4 of the release of judgment lien. Then it reads, in order to lift these liens, you should record the release of judgment lien at each of the applicable counties recorder's offices. Then it states, no further actions required with the court. The release of judgment lien may be recorded in person or by mail. So again, as you guys can see, but let's continue on. It reads, a fee will be charged by each recorder, right? And, with the child support representative name, and also the informational copy only with the stamp from the county's clerk's office, okay? Let him know that they did file it in the county's clerk's office, and also highlight it at the lower bottom. It states notice of release of judgment lien. So now let's go to the next page, which was the DCSS 0240 form. So let's go there. Okay, so now, as you all can see, this is in fact the form that my aunt have to file with the county recorders for all 4 counties that they released the lien in, okay? He haven't filed them yet because he just received them, but he should be filing them sometime this week, okay? As you all can see, I have the county of Alameda highlighted. The reason why I did that, because you have 4 of the same letters for all 4 different agencies, okay? All 4 different counties, okay? So instead of posting all 4 of them up, that would be extremely repetitive and take up a lot of time. So I'm just going to go over this one, which is County of Alameda, okay? But let's continue on. It states, the petitioner/plaintiff County of Alameda, State of California, versus the respondent, who is my aunt, Mr. Cook. Okay, notice everyone's name is in capital letters. That's all done for a reason, guys. We went over this a few years ago. Again, if you haven't watched my old videos, go back and watch them where I break down all this information. But let's continue. It states release of judgment lien. This is what this form is titled, release of judgment lien. They mark general. Okay, it's not for specific property. It's for all his property in general. Okay, case number I crossed out. Number 1, judgment creditor or judgment creditor assignee. So I highlighted those in red because those are some of the terms that we're going to go over, and you all must understand the importance of these terms that are being used so you all can properly defend yourself. Then it states 1. So the judgment creditor is Alameda County Department of Child Support Services, which is what, guys? A person, a legal entity, a corporation. Okay? So is number 2, the judgment debtor, who is my aunt, Mr. Cook. Who is he? A legal persona, a legal entity, a corporation, no different than Alameda County Department of Social Services. They are both corporations. One is just titled a natural corporation or natural person because a man is acting in his corporal status as a person, aka a persona. No difference, okay? But let's continue on. Number 3, a judgment was entered at name of court, Alameda. Case number I crossed out. Judgment was entered on date December 5th, 1997, guys. That's how long this case been going on. Okay? Since 1997, guys. Now he's just receiving remedy once he's coming to me. Letting you all know that we are seriously applying pressure. But let's continue. An abstract has been recorded as follows. County, Alameda, California. Date of recording. July 19th, July 19th, 2001. So this lien has been on his property since 2001. Okay, he came to me, now it's off in 2023. But let's continue. The local child support agency, LCSA, hereby releases the lien created as specified below. A. General. This release applies to all property of the debtor subject to the lien. Again, keyword debtor. But let's continue on. C. This release is not a satisfaction of the judgment. By releasing the lien, the LCA makes no statement as to the judgment debtor's compliance with the judgment. That should be a red flag, guys, because they're basically saying we're not saying he paid to release the lien. We're just saying that he satisfied the lien. But let's continue. This release of lien does not affect the amount of support owed now or in the future. Okay? Now let's read number 6. Notice of judgment debtor, notice to judgment debtor. This release of judgment lien will have to be recorded in each county shown above in order to release the judgment lien. Dated, again, June 5th, 2023, this month, this year, guys. That's the Child Support Enforcement Agency's agent name. Again, highlighted very bottom yellow, release of judgment lien. Highlighted in red, release of judgment lien. Okay, so now let's go to the definition for the term lien so you're going to get a better understanding of what a lien is and who liens pertain to. Let's go there. Let's scroll down to lien. Let's pick this up at the yellow highlighted area, and it reads, a claim. That's exactly what a lien is, guys. It's a claim. A claim on what? On property. To further prove that, let's continue reading. Encumbrance or charge on property for payment of some debt, obligation, or duty. I can simply stop right there, guys, but I'm going to continue reading. But as you all remember, go back to my very first video when I posted the paperwork that I put up there. It was for a show cause rule, and it was a charge, right? That charge had a debt amount, okay? After everything was said and done and over with, the charge amount was 0, removing what? The debt, the obligation, and the duty all together, guys. But let's continue. It states, qualified right of property which a creditor has in or over specific property of his debtor as security for the debt or charge or for performance of some act. Child support is what? A performance of some act, which makes it a what? A legal duty. But let's continue on. Right or claim against some interest in property created by law as an incident of contract. Again, highlighted contract. Child support is what? Is in fact a contract. When was the contract created? Upon the signing of the birth certificate. That was the contract, okay? Which created the what? The legal duty of support, okay? Which established the legal father status. But let's continue on. Right to enforce charge upon property of another for payments or satisfaction of debt or claim. Right to retain property for payment of debt or demand. Security for a debt, duty, or other obligation. What is child support? Debt, duty, or an obligation. Same thing. Let's continue on. These terms are the same. They're being used repetitively. Why? Because they're dealing in what? Commercial terms. But we're going to further prove that as well. But let's continue on. Tie that binds property to a debt or claim for its satisfaction. The word is a generic term. Standing alone includes liens acquired by what, guys? Contracts, or by what? Operations of law. Operations of law is still a contract, guys. Why? Because one must consent to be governed. And it's just that simple. To give consent means what? To issue an agreement, which is what? A contract. There's no difference. But let's continue. A change against or interest in property to secure payment of a debt for performance of an obligation. Bankruptcy Code subsection 101. If you haven't read that code, write it down, read it when this video go off, okay, for you all get better understanding. So now, let's go to, since we're dealing with debt, let's go to the term debtor. Let's see who's a debtor. Let's go there. All right, let's scroll down the debtor, and it reads, one who owes a debt to another who is called the creditor. So again, in order to be a debtor, there must be a creditor, guys. And we're going to go over that term creditor as well. But let's continue on. It states, one who may be compelled to pay a claim or demand. Anyone liable on a claim, whether due or become due. Debtor means the person. Again, what is a person, guys? A corporation. That's it. A legal entity, a persona, a mask, a corporation. That's it. Let's continue on. The corporation who owes payment or other performance of the obligation secured. What is the obligation they claim you guys owe? Child support. Child support is the legal duty, aka the obligation. But let's continue on. Whether or not he owes or has rights in the collateral, and includes the seller of accounts or chattel paper, where the debtor and the owner of the collateral are not the same persons. The term debtor means the owner of the collateral and any provisions of the article dealing with the collateral. The obligor, again, we know what the obligor is, no more than a corporation. Same thing, a legal persona, nothing changed. Let's continue. The obligor and any provision dealing with the obligation. Okay, let's continue on. And may include both where the context so requires, and they quote what, guys? UCC subsection 9-1051D. So again, why are they quoting the UCC codes? Because like I stated before, guys, child support is no different than any other commercial debt. All debts, when it's dealing with a debt, it's all commercial, no matter what type of debt it is, guys. All debts are commercial. That's why they quoted the Uniform Commercial Codes. Okay? So now let's go to judgment debtor, since they are coming after the debtor, and they title him in the documents the judgment debtor. Let's go to judgment debtor. All right, let's stroll down to judgment debtor, and it reads, a person. We know what a person is, guys. It's a corporation. So let's replace that term, person, with corporation. It states, a corporation against whom judgment has been recovered and which remains unsatisfied. The terms has been construed to include a judgment debtor, successor, and interest. Then it states, compare judgment creditor. So now let's go to judgment creditor, because now we know that a judgment debtor is the person which the judgment creditor is coming to recover from a judgment that was placed against that alleged corporation, aka person. Let's continue on. And it reads, very top, upper left hand corner, judgment creditor. Again, a person, also known as what? A corporation. So let's read it. A corporation in whose favor a money judgment has been entered by a court of law and who has not yet been paid. So we know by looking at my Ox document that he received from Child Support Enforcement Agency, they was listed as what? The judgment creditor, which is also a what? A corporation. We know that the Child Support Enforcement Agency is in fact a corporation. You can go down to the building right now and tell this is a corporation that have agents acting on his behalf. But let's continue on. And it's also standing as a what? Judgment creditor. So again, more evidence that the person is in fact a corporation. But let's continue on. One who has obtained the judgment against his debtor under which he can enforce execution. A corporation in whose favor a money judgment is entered, or a person who becomes entitled to enforce it. So we know that once a money judgment is entered, that money judgment must be evidenced by the record. Okay, so it must be written in writing and placed in the court of record. But let's continue on to further prove that. It states, owner of an unsatisfied judgment. Then it states, for the purpose of Internal Revenue Code, term is used in conventional sense of judgment of what? Court of record. So even dealing with the Internal Revenue Code, the judgment must be entered in the court of record. When we know we're dealing in child support, some child support courts are not courts of record, and because they're not courts of record, then the money judgment is invalid. There is no proof of money judgment. So because there's no real proof of money judgment, because there's no record of it, then there's no obligation to perform the money payments. Okay, the money judgment. But let's continue. Judgment of debt. A judgment of debt is what? A monetary obligation, right? Then it reads, which is either evidenced by what? A written record. So if there's no written record of this alleged monetary obligation, then guess what? There is no monetary obligation, and there is no duty to perform on said monetary obligation because there's no record of it. And it's just that simple, guys. But let's continue. Or brought about by successful legal actions against the debtor. A debt, whether on simple contract or by specialty. Okay? For what? For the recovery of which judgment has been entered. That's it. That's all, guys. Okay? So now, let's continue on to judgment lien. Let's read judgment lien since it's right here. Since they put a judgment lien against them. A judgment lien is what? An encumbrance that arises by law when a judgment for the judgment for the recovery of money is docketed. So again, the judgment to recover the money is docketed. Docketed in what? And docketed into a court of record. But let's continue. And that attaches to the debtor's real estate located in the county where the judgment is docketed. That's why I read the form that was attached to the notice that was sent to my that was also filed in the county recorder where they placed the lien, right? And he also now had to file his release forms in those same counties, the same counties that the Child Support Enforcement Agency filed its release forms. But let's continue on. A lien binding the real estate of a judgment debtor. That's all a judgment lien is. It's binding the real estate of the judgment debtor. Okay? So I hope this all made sense to you guys. Hope you guys got proper understanding. This is part 1. I will be coming back with part 2 later on in the week. So again, that's all I'm going to do for today. If you all need my help, hit me up at my email at yahuah@gmail.com. Let's get this right wisdom, this right knowledge, and this right understanding. Also, guys, I'm changing the merch store. I will be providing different merch and everything else for you all to, cop because, it's going to be better, more quality. It's going to be nice, guys. It's coming very, very soon. All right. Oh, yeah, but before I leave, let's read judgment execution. I didn't read that yet. Because they doing what? They executing the judgment. Then it states what? The formal or written evidence of the judgment which commands the officer to seize the goods and property of the judgment debtor to satisfy the judgment. Okay, so again, even for a judgment execution, there must be written evidence of the judgment. Okay, if there is no written evidence of the judgment filed in a court of record, then guess what? There is no obligation to perform the money obligation or to perform any duties when paying support. That's it. That's all, guys. So again, you all be blessed out there. With that being said, I say shalom.